Us off here. Nice inside shot. Bit of a fluster poach. Of course, pretty much zero wind conditions here for outdoors. That's a nice flat backhand for the first goal for the Finns. Myself, Hannah Penderbury, alongside Christina Obermeyer. And it is glorious out here, Christina.
It is. Sun is shining. The wind is rather low for now, and we've got perfect conditions for an intense Frisbee match. The Finnish national team taking on GB, as Hanni already said, and we saw the first point in favor of the Finnish side. Vapu Reunanen with the first assist here. She's been around the European women's scene for quite some time, opting to go mixed after their rather glorious run to the final in with a club mixed team last year. Puti taking on Gut last year in the final. Guessing they got a sense for playing mixed this year. GB, on the other hand, also quite a mixture of mixed players and single gender players. We'll see what they can do in their first O point.
So GB coming out on offense. Breaks across. Taylor. Around. Sam Wilson, the number 3 there, of course, of Reading Ultimate fame, one of the fastest players out on a mixed pitch. Squeaking it around to Briggs. Oh, and who on earth was on the mark there? Uncontested pass completely, and an easy, quick hold for Great Britain.
Yeah, after giving up an early break, they managed to hold. Beautiful switch of positioning here, starting on this near side to our screen, to our camera, and then moving it to the other side of the pitch to score. As you said, not really anyone to mark in that second, and passing the disc on immediately for the score. So this is the first round of mixed. Swiss draw, of course, so we can not really tell you who's going to be on for the next few rounds, but there's going to be an alternating single gender stream for you to watch, and then mixed.
And of course, it's a delight to finally see a 20 and 20 split for the open teams and the women's teams here at Windmill. They've been trying to make it happen for quite some time. This is the first iteration where they've managed to pull it off, which is fabulous. Of course, you know, there's some concerns about the women's division because they didn't have qualifiers last season. It was just a turn up and play in Korole, and hopefully Wrocław will have a full qualification series this season.
So Finland on their first O point. They're at around midfield. Good defensive coverage, but they find someone on the break side. And they put up the huck. Floaty in the end zone. And that is tipped. Good defensive pressure from Nugent.
Getting a little bit of a fist bump love from his fellow Sublime Ultimate compatriot, Will Roledge, hanging out in our shade.
Stealing our shade, rather.
Throwing shade, for sure. He's always throwing shade.
Oh, and that disc out the side of the end zone.
Well, it did look like Carla Link got a hand to it. And if you can touch it, you can catch it, right?
Yeah, but if not if it's that speedy.
If you can touch it, you can catch it. I think those are the rules.
Yeah, sure, okay. I've decided you're making the rules.
Oh, well, in which case I have some feelings. But that's a great defensive block to get the disc back for Great Britain.
Picking up immediately is Mikhail. And a foul, uncontested, on the mark, looks like.
Yeah, Mikhail, a nice, I believe, a certain famous Belgian player said that Mikhail is his favourite athlete to match up against. Can you guess who?
I know who. You can tell us in the comments if you want to take part of that guessing game.
Or to make Milan happy, the live chat.
Yeah, true. There you go, big disc in the end zone. Caught for the score, and that is a break back for GB when they gave up early, and Kilsby making sure that disc stays in GB's possession for now.
Indeed, I think Ruth Kilsby, one of the, as you say, non-club mixed players that's come across to play for this Great Britain mixed side. There was, back in 2019, they collected quite a lot of male matching talent because some individuals were not keen to play for the team management for the open side, who of course had a good amount of success themselves, but certainly eyes on the prize. I do believe there isn't a single European title that's been won by any team other than Great Britain thus far in history. Correct me if I'm wrong.
On the open side?
Mixed side. They're undefeated.
Are they? Wow, that's impressive.
We're hearing from Will Rose that's also the case in open. Of course, unfortunately, sometimes British teams have a bit of a failure to launch when they get to World Championships. Not many world titles have been snagged. A couple here and there.
I was just going to say, if you go mixed, then you have to count in World Games, and looking at World Games is one or the other team that maybe beat them last year. Anyway, back to this game. Finland on offense. Collecting the pull on the brick mark. Isolation play. Goes to the reset though. Keen to work it in a hand set, not too much movement downfield. Up the line, good power position. Will they take it? Yeah, they do. Big disc goes up. Oh.
What an absolute sensation of an overtop grab. Just closing the lid.
Agnew working in the hander set. Looks for a deep option, decides against it, goes to Beeching. Nice disc movement, switching field positions, and now putting it up into the end zone. Oh, and that layout. Seems like he wanted to fly, but never actually wanted to grab that disc.
He wanted to fly high, but just didn't want to come back down to earth. He just wanted, I'm just going to stay here for now, it's fine.
Don't need that disc, just want to show that I can put my body on the line.
Well, this is certainly a very athletic squad for both sides, so we expect to see lots of plays like that, keeping us entertained in the booth.
Puck goes up, and it's just out up the line. Now they're looking end zone, right in front there. Quick pop pass, does that work? And it does! Another break for...
Yeah, bit of classic, just win the battle to the front cone kind of affair. Easy does it. That took a couple of attempts. Certainly I know GB's D-line will be wanting to be cleaner than that. Actually, you know, make sure they are punching in their opportunities because, you know, maybe this game might be a little bit looser, might be a bit more difference in the scoreline. You might get more opportunities on a couple of the matchups for the players, but there's definitely, I know that GB's mixed team have come into this season with high hopes and will have very high standards for themselves. Do you know who I'm talking about, Christina?
Rachel Turton?
Yeah, the person who literally gave everything humanly possible, including the health of one of her wrist bones, to clutch that gold medal winning catch. at the end of the tournament in Hungary back in 2019.
Getting goosebumps just listening to that.
Yeah, it was not a pretty one to watch back, but to be fair, if you're going to have that happen, the first person you want coming towards you on your team is literal doctor, medic Karen Kwok, and they gave her the attention from the medical staff from the ambulance straight away.
Back to live action. Finland in the middle, also getting some flow. Now Ronanen looks for the reset. Goes back around with a beautiful break throw. And they're switching sides now. Trying to attack, but not a lot. And a hammer goes up. And there we are in the end zone for the Finnish side. I love that cheeky hammer throw over the top. They're showcasing that they are an indoors nation.
Well, that's true. There is obviously a glorious summertime in Finland, but they do spend, because obviously they're positioned geographically, a little bit more time when it's just way too cold to play outdoor frisbee. It's just, it would be insane. You'd have to be like in snowshoes and, you know, proper Arctic polar exploration gear to, I think, play a full game of outdoors.
I would really love to see that, though. That would be so funny.
Well, I have recently seen the fourth surface for tennis, which is people playing with ice skates, playing a game of tennis, sort of with like a net sort of spiked into the ice, which it looks absolutely bonkers, and I will go absolutely nowhere near it. But I don't know, ultimate on ice, do we think that's the next frontier? Maybe that's one that's going to finally get us into the Olympics. I don't know, go for the winter.
It should be the next thing. I would love to see that. Imagine laying out on the ice.
Oh no, that sounds horrendous.
I don't think it's worse than laying out indoors or on the grass. At least you slide really well.
All right, so Christina, I'm going to call you out. You chose 4G Mix as your favourite surface to play ultimate on. Turf burns, anybody?
Well, better than having bleeding arms and legs from grass. Valiant effort. Well done, and dishing it off back to get the score as well. Well deserved for Taylor.
Yeah, we saw Ellie Taylor using an unusual use of her speed. She was running through the airport yesterday evening. There was a lot of chaos coming out of London Gatwick. There was some tropical storm action happening in Europe that had delayed a couple of flights, cancelled a couple of flights, and she was trying to catch up with some of her compatriots who'd hired a car. GB Mix actually choosing, unusually, shockingly even, to not camp at Windmill. How could you?
Wait, what?
They're not camping.
Sounds like they're taking this seriously.
Fine. It's a fool's errand, taking a tournament seriously. I mean, it's a life choice. I personally would much rather have people, you know, get themselves, hire some local RVs and caravans for that sort of bougie experience. Lolo, one of our crew, has bought a fabulous van, an old converted fire truck to the tournament experience. And it's one of the things that does sort of slightly change the rhythm when you have national championships at club level. Certainly the strength is packed, but when you have those nations tournaments, it does slightly change the atmosphere here at Windmill. But I respect the people that still come to the party. Just saying, you can do both. Go old school.
After the intense games of Windmill, I think everyone deserves a little bit of party, as we know it never killed nobody. Finland now trying to stay in that game. They're down by 2, trying to make it 1 as they put it up. Oh, and great defense. Necessary bid.
I don't know if our microphone picked up that extremely pitchy whistle coming out of a certain Bristol Ultimate player. We kind of love it, but also, ow, my ears. I hope you guys are okay. Let us know in the chat if we've managed to shatter your eardrums. But great defensive block. You know you don't have to be in bounds. You just power towards it. And GB giving themselves a real opportunity to go ahead, but that's going to fail to reach Beeching.
And the disc goes up immediately into the end zone, and another big block. Going up high this time. Turner with that second defense of that point.
Yeah, of Chevron Ultimate fame, I believe, back in the day. Andy Turner. A real just nice chap. I think that's probably, there's lots of people in Ultimate that are very nice, but you know, there's the extra people that you're just like, he's just really solid dude, plays really good defense.
Beeching this time. It's to Nugent, and Nugent puts it up deep. It's floating, and can he get the bookends here? And he redeems GB.
Well, you say redeems GB, that's a break.
I know, but like, it's a second opportunity again.
Oh no, absolutely. They need to be a lot cleaner, certainly, you know, trying to convert. And a timeout is being called very sensibly by the coach of the Finnish national side. That is, of course, Thomas Feister, Tumpi, who he says he's sort of not hoping, but hoping that one of his athletes gets injured, because if someone gets injured, that means he gets to play at Windmill, which of course is exactly what everyone wants to be doing. But as we take a time out there, we will too in the booth. We'll be back with the action on this game after this message.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
So we have a little analyst that's sashayed his way into our booth. We're going to bring you a technical analysis of this point, sponsored by Tokai Ultimate, from Will Rolich. So he's keeping a beady eye on this one. He's going to tell us what he thinks. But back to you, Christina.
Finland off to the races, and a big disc goes up again. It's high and floaty. Body's underneath it. And defense. Oh, but a shaken up player.
That's a lot of touching from behind. Which I know sounds slightly, but you know what I mean, folks. That was a bid from a big lad. We've already had the VAR signal being asked for, a little like a TV screen being outlined.
Looks like the nose got a little hit to it.
Yeah, great sort of, you know, team help, but perhaps a bit too much of a sandwich going on.
So discussion about that foul call was on. People asking for the replay, but we don't. Unfortunately, we don't not have it.
So we're still experiencing some minor technical difficulties at this stage of the tournament. We had a full setup day yesterday, but sometimes these things do happen. If you want to make sure we have completely problem-free kit, she says, not that any such kit exists, then consider becoming a patron of ours.
So it seems to be Finland on the goal line. Did foul, I would assume. That was good defense from the GB side. That does a little. McHale with a to the other side, and that's floaty, but on the side, and she gets it. I did not think that'd work.
Oh, bookends for Ruth Taylor, last gasp hero. That was looking like it was going to be pushed out of bounds. There is an extremely gentle breeze, but that had to be pinch perfect reception. Slightly wonky release maybe from Fowler.
So we promise you some analysis. And we are ready with, we'll roll it here. Well, what do you think about this last point? What's your...
I think GB's defense there was absolutely class. Throwing that up into double coverage. One issue GB had there was you cannot be losing that advantage there. You've got to try pushing up the pitch and take full advantage and get that block. You're giving them a free goal potentially if you're giving a foul in the end zone there.
It's true. It was interesting to see the Finns unable to connect, you know, literally with the shortest possible human. I mean, to be fair, at that point your field is compressed. Sometimes it's actually more difficult to score when you are in the end zone line. But yes, need to be a little bit cleaner, a bit more mindful of, like I say, not giving up those foul shots when there is double coverage, because realistically, when there's two of you, you can work together really sensibly to apply pressure and deny so much more cleanly. Maybe if it's a one-on-one situation as a defender, when you know you've not got that advantage, maybe you have to play a touch more physically. But either way, we like to see a clean game.
And I think when you've got the throws like GB Mixed have, you have to be switched on defense right away. They're going to be looking to counter that immediately. Have to be switched on, take up those deep threats and force them to work hard.
Back to live action here, Runanen. Finds a reset. And unforced arrow there, that disc just not ending up in his hands, and GB with another opportunity to break. Beaching. It's back to Thompson. Oh, nearly a run through D. Oh, and a hand block. Pusiainen gets her hands on that disc and gets possession back to Finland.
But lovely to see Helen Thompson back on the pitch after that hamstring injury that she picked up at some of the GB friendly games. That might be Becky. That is, sorry, twin mistake.
The confusion when twins are playing together, that looks so similar, and some confusion gives the disc back to GB.
Maybe it would help if I look at the field rather than actually just hearing the surname.
It's a struggle with twins and siblings alike. Beaching with grab behind her back. Lewis to Thompson. Pick called.
Yep, two Reading Ultimate players there connecting, Lewis and Thompson. I believe Lewis might be the reason that Thompson moved over to Reading.
Hot take.
It's a pretty well-known fact. It's a really fun place to move to. They have such a fun mixed team, such high quality.
They did win Elite Invite in Bern just 2 weeks ago. So one could say it's a good idea to move there if you want to play high level mixed ultimate.
Well, they've also scooped up some people that don't live there, as you see Bailey Melvin Teng run out of bounds.
We gotta watch that sideline.
Yeah, that was unnecessary to not toe that one in. Sort of maybe just a little bit of a first game low key, just gonna make the catch, nothing flashy.
I'm gonna say something controversial and say she might have taking it too easy.
That's what I mean. First game, first day.
And if you're up 4 points, you might lose a little bit of that grit.
A bit of an armbar there, really unfortunate. I think Thompson just got underneath Galpin.
Something GB really likes to do. Get that first inside look.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if the finish marks will adjust to that, maybe be a little bit flatter, you know, really force GB to have to use their pivots to go all the way around, maybe try and catch them off guard in terms of their core.
Here's a little bit of very static on the GB side. Oh, there's people standing for a reason. Boxall. Disc in his hands. Looking for Lewis and finds Thompson instead.
Again, another inside flick.
Boxall gets it back and puts it into space for the score, and they're up 7-2. So, GB with the commanding lead. They managed to get it back again and again. Really putting pressure on the Finnish offense.
So yeah, not the cleanest break for GB, but putting themselves within one of taking half and commandingly so. Of course, we have to mention, for those of you who are unfamiliar, Windmill has played to a Swiss draw format, so every single point counts, which I really like in terms of up until the point where you get to the bracket. It's all about an almighty algorithm that dictates your fate in terms of your standings. You have to try and play close with strong opponents to make sure that you get that strength rating, and it creates a really interesting thing for your O-lines and your deconversions, because in a usual format of a tournament, you just have to win. It doesn't matter how many points you win by, you just have to score more points in your opposition. That's it. Whereas the format here in Windmill, you really do gain such an advantage by absolutely destroying your opponent. So it creates higher stakes right from the beginning.
Yeah, it really is something special, that tournament. We see if Finland can catch up and minimize the damage they would go with. Oh, and great Karab, just getting those hands in Nugent with the block.
That's a sublime block there.
Technical analysis by Will Village.
Well, it's a reference to Nugent's initial club, Portsmouth University Sublime, which unfortunately currently isn't a proper club in the Buck. GB grabbing themselves another goal, and that is going to be hard for Great Britain next. But yeah, post-pandemic, lots of university clubs really struggle with recruitment, so Sublime are currently just a recreational club, but have a fantastic youth sports facility in their home city, which hopefully they might be hosting some tournaments at. Who knows?
Oh, that would be fun.
Well, I happen to live 5 minutes away from it, so I'm really excited to maybe get us some hosting. But anyway, we will have half-time. GB crushing this game at the moment, 8-2 over their Finnish opponents. But we'll be right back with the second half of this game after these messages.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
much longer can you hide? You can try and push away from me. You kick and scream, you're begging, please. But once you get a little taste of freedom, you wanna get up off your knees. Come over, don't fight how you really feel. Come closer to me. I'll give you something to believe in. Come over, don't fight how you really feel. Come closer, please.
So, second half, GB mixed out here, currently
Crushing it.
Yeah, well, we say crushing it. The scoreline obviously has a miles worth of difference, but I know that GB are going to be having maybe some polite words after this. Their deconversions are not clean. I don't think they've had a single clean break yet in this game. We aren't keeping stats, so I could well be wrong, but it doesn't feel. Maybe they've got one clean break so far. And really, if you're going to go snag yourself another gold championship medal at EUC in Limerick, you're going to have to be a little bit better. It is the first game, so maybe some warming up, maybe some congealing needing to happen. But right now, Finland could get back in this, and they need to, desperately, because Swiss draw format being what it is.
I know it's only the first game, but it is going to be a long weekend, and the bodies are going to tear from it. And if you could finish that game super easy with clean breaks, it really will take a toll on every one of those players if you have to run defense 2 or 3 times around. I mean, that is a controversial catch, both players at the same time. And Runen, very spirited, falls for the turnover, and GB get a break opportunity. We'll see how clean that'll go.
Yeah, Briggs must have been very, very certain there, because that was quite the immediate vocal. Yeah, no, our player had it first. Soz. But as you say, great throw from Runen, just taking the fact that it was a bit of a risky biscuit.
Link going to Lewis, very open.
He usually is, he's quite fast.
There you go, and that's a near D though. Seems like his defender is quite fast as well.
Well, to be fair, to make that block, that would have had to been sort of a layout through Lewis, so good to see that didn't happen.
We like the people that don't lay out through others. Just in front of the end zone now. Mikhail puts it in for a link.
So I do believe, after us telling GB off for being a bit dirty, that was a clean break. It's happened.
The second time around, maybe? Or the first? Whatever, we can celebrate that because it's good Frisbee played. Link really stepping up for the team at this point.
Yeah, unusual to see Carla coming out playing D-line. It's usually she's an O-line handler. But, you know, D is where the glory is at, as I think. Do we have... wait, hold on. Right, so I'm D-line. Are you D-line, Christina?
No. Well, yeah, I am. But I don't. I'm there because of the offense. Let's put it like that. I'm here for pulling, and then because I can play offense.
What about hashtag GB Rollage? Are you still D-line, or they put you on the O now because you're an old boy?
Back on the O-line now. Yeah, where I belong. Ever since Fire of London, it's been a long 4 years, but everyone knows O-line is where I belong.
I mean, but the thing is that when you get, I mean, I still remember back, I believe in 2016, wasn't it you who got the layout point block on one of the USA under 24 handlers and made him look very silly very quickly? Because that's where you need to make those pivotal moments.
It's been a while since I've been able to lay out properly, I'll be honest. But yeah, that was an incredible game.
Old man Rollage here. You've still got knees though. I think you've got some. But we'll focus on the game at hand as the Finns try desperately to cling on in this game.
We'll see if they can adjust to the pressure GB is putting on them. Not too great spacing will put a lot of pressure on that deep point, and GB with another break opportunity here.
I think there's a few things Finland needs to focus on. Mostly their fundamentals, they've really been lacking, and it's hard to tell whether it's the pressure GB have been putting on them. And next up, it's their resets. There's been a lot of overcrowding that reset space, and they aren't flooding through effectively enough to generate effective resets. If they can nail those down, perhaps we can see an improvement in their gameplay.
Yeah, I'd agree on that. Definitely something that can work through, and they will during this weekend. They have plenty more games to play and get that team chemistry on as a big put goes up, and with a layout, he collects that just in front of the end zone. Incredible play. Thompson with the quick throw into the grass.
I think Andy spent so long on the floor this game for all his layouts. Thompson just expected him to be there.
Well, Rollage, a talent wasted on the pitch. It's nice to finally get you in our booth though, we love to see it. But Finns now trying to isolate players so close to that D.
And as long as they're flowing and getting some gainers underneath, the Finns are working really well. But now you can see again that crowded reset space. Waits for the disc and reads it well. This time around that works out for the Finns. Might have been a wake-up call for them. Up the line. And to the side. Fista. Capansalo. And double coverage. Oh, and that was not intended for the person who tipped it away.
Yeah, shocking to see Kapanen kind of not really running it and running underneath that disc. I know you've got a huge deficit to make up, but every point counts, and that had a lot of hang time on it.
It did, and Thompson talking about hang time, putting it out into space for Ruth Taylor to run it without anyone chasing her.
Yep, Taylor of Bristol Ultimate, and Thompson, of course, we've already said, playing in the mixed division with Reading, formerly of Iceni, but actually, when she first moved to the UK, little known fact, joined SICK Ultimate because they were willing to take on that Canadian halfway through the season.
Do you know if the Canadian player will come near the area where my team is? We'd always take her on, even if it's mid-season.
It depends on how you're running, things, your leadership, their decisions, in terms of obviously if you have a trials process, you have a closed roster. Certainly taking on players as training players is absolutely fine, but sometimes you don't want to see kind of, one of your athletes that's been playing with you throughout the season, demoted, because if you put that talented person on your team for a tournament, they're going to see a lot of it.
Yes, but it depends. I would absolutely agree. It just depends on what you want to do as a team. If you want to win, if your goal is to be as good as possible, you would give this person a spot. And I always thought, like, just personal opinion on GB teams, I always thought they were firstly about being as good as possible. And especially in the European scene.
I will put this delicately. Every Ultimate Nation has personalities in it. And when you get personalities, you get people, you get different sort of cultures of teams. I would say that sometimes decision making is not always, especially for club outfits, especially when you've got people with teams for multiple seasons, it's not always about putting together the best 20-some athletes who are going to always win games. Sometimes, and realistically, sometimes that needs to be the case. Sometimes you need to develop people through. So you need to respect your rookies. You need to make sure that expectations are set correctly. And if you have people added halfway through a season, things can get a bit funny. Nugent going high over the top, that's going to be vile.
Disadvantage of height on Nugent's part did not stop him from putting a lot of pressure and getting up early. And the help defense was there to make sure that disc would never be collected by Finland. GB with a big huck out of Beeching. Nugent underneath it, nearly jumping it in. It's on the goal line now, and that's a score.
Bailey Melvin Teng with a ripper under hot pressure. Really hats off to that throw from Beeching. Alex Beeching is somebody that when she sort of had her breakout season, we really talked about her speed, her athleticism, her dynamism in terms of her agility and her movement around. But actually, currently, sort of Bristol are on a bit of a redevelopment season. Beeching is having to sit back more in that handle spot. Certainly at the elite invite, she was having to, be more of that kind of like offense generating with her arms rather than her legs. And that was an absolute money shot towards the end zone. There is zero wind, so like the easiest conditions to execute it in, but that was a thing of beauty.
I find that it's sometimes really hard to switch between single gender and the mixed division in terms of throwing, because you can put it out quicker, or you have to put it out different for a male matching player to run underneath sometimes. And I think Beeching, you can see she adjusted very well to it, and that put over the top from one side to the other side of the pitch. Probably something that would have been a bit harder to execute in the women's division, with putting it out perfectly for Nugent.
It's just about knowing each other. I think we talk a lot about the divisional differences, but also it's that idea of the reps together, right? It's that knowing what is that my player's top speed yet? And it's one of the things that becomes really, when you see elite throwers in teams, they know each other super well, that's where you get those absolutely perfectly rated discs. So clearly GB have been playing a lot of friendlies, a lot of things to try and get themselves together. They haven't had the best of success always at those friendly early season stuff, but they've clearly done lots of melding together.
Layout D from Andrew Dick. Really jumping through the air to get that disc.
Absolutely, like a spear being thrown. Dick is there with just a straight up great block.
It's amazing stuff. Thompson into the end zone here, and bobbled and dropped from GB, and this is one of the arrows we maybe talked about before.
Yeah, maybe slipping back in a little bit. We haven't seen the Finnish side score in this second half yet, so GB are clearly on the run, but maybe Ellie Saylor just not watching the disc fully into her hands, but a drop deserves another, and that one escapes Karpinen.
Good pressure from Taylor, trying to do everything she can to redeem herself. And there you go, GB with a score for Nikita Kovshov.
Yeah, a long-time player in the London scene, currently plays for Deep Space Koshov. Of course, this Windmill tournament is a rare opportunity for some of the Russian talent to actually appear, because at the moment, sort of cascading down from the IOC decision that was obviously made some time ago at this stage, we do not see any Russian players appearing at any of the EUF events, so there certainly won't be at Euros in Limerick. And it's basically a very neutral decision of anyone that's been in for outside of Russia for 4 years or more can play with their usual sets. There are some Russian talents still around, got some folks that have been appearing at the early season tournaments, but I for one am extremely excited to watch in this mixed division Elisa Tizik playing with Gut. She's currently residing in the Netherlands. But obviously hearts go out to all of the players who are being not able to appear for whatever reason it is, whether this season it's that you're carrying an injury or you are just not able to afford it. There's lots of people who can't make it to Ultimate tournaments for so many variety of reasons. And hats off as well to the clubs that have been able to host people that, maybe from lesser developed Ultimate nations, allowing that talent to thrive and inspire the next generations through.
Yeah, the Ultimate community is one of a kind, especially looking at the support we give each other. Supporting themselves. Or Finland now.
I love the GB sideline. Taylor giving absolute credit for that great grab and power.
That was great reaction. Ronanen. Just for an option. Just for the reset now. That reset space is still a bit full of bodies.
Yeah, great vision to find Vinquist. That was a laser across on high store.
Low disc that never really picked up flight mode.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure who that was trying to hit. It sort of looked like it could have been for Raunen, but it could have been for the deepest receiver. Either way, too low and too bladey for either. And another gift for GB.
Yeah, you just got to execute on those. I do think if they were executed a bit more precisely, it would work out. But so far, they have given Finland have given GB every opportunity to go up and contest those hooks. Pick call.
Take it to the gun show for one.
So another violation. Talking. Finnish player wants to catch up, I think. And this will stay with Briggs. And that's giving your receiver a chance.
Well, Sam Wilson is a speed demon, but that one just ripping clear. But both Thompson sisters, the twins, on the pitch together. Just trying to look dynamic in front of that cone. Briggs coming through.
With a hammer over the top to a very open player in the back. Mark Simpson just stood there.
Well, Simpson getting an, I don't think this is his first GB cap, but he was coaching at the end of last season in Lithuania, the indoor women's team for Great Britain. So 13-12 now, 13-2 now, sorry. You'd expect for two national teams for it to be 13-12, Christina, but it just seems like the wheels have come off the finish, and they're sort of just a bit of a sad sort of affair. The audio has come to life on my laptop watching our stream. Hopefully you've been able to hear what we've been saying this whole time. Because that was mighty awkward. We had some audio technical issues. But yeah, you'd expect this to be 13-12. It is not. And GB have been applying pressure, but they've certainly been making errors and giving the Finns this. It just seems like...
I I'm speaking from experience. I was on the Austrian mixed team in 2019, and we played GB. We played them 3 times actually, and lost 15-4 every single time. And the team came 5th in the end. But GB was just that opponent. They can put you down. They can close at every option and make it so hard for you to execute what you usually can execute with perfection.
Well, that's some nice team defense, surveying it the first 3 seconds or so. Sort of, just surveying it, camping, switching. Big deep shot for the Finns, though. Could this work? Oh no, it's too big. Again, execution errors really all over the place for the Finns. That was really nice flying offense, but just such a shame that deep shot wasn't a bit better weighted.
It's a good idea, and that shot for the first time really gave a good angle for the receiver to attack, but it's just out too far. And by the end of this game here, well, finishing up, you should be able to account for the win just a little bit better. Boxall into the middle to Turner, to Boxall. Thompson very open in the middle. Looking end zone. Set up. Thompson to Boxall. Directing traffic with head movement. And over the top, what a beautiful high release pass. And another high release to the other side for the score to get within 1 of winning this game.
First match point situation, that was a lovely casual toss pass, sort of just sat it up. So much spin on that execution because there is no wind to put the disc on. There's nothing for it to float with. It is as still as an outdoor net game can be. So it is a real shame with the Finnish throwing errors. There's nothing against, there's no extra help from the elements. At the moment, it really is, they just need to tighten up the screws, or maybe you just even go back to the drawing board. But GB right now looking pretty comfortable, pretty confident. Certainly not a polished performance from them the whole way through this game, but they're just rolling with it. They've got momentum, and I would probably expect them to just finish this in the next point, just because they have all that momentum behind them, and they're going to come down, they're going to put tight match defense on, but with that switch for the first 3 seconds, it's been working really well for them. Sort of just, when you're that far up, you really can just sit on, still on the balls of your feet as a defender, but actually just reading the play, playing smart. It's hot out here. We're not expecting it to cool off. It's just going to get warmer on the fields in Amsterdam. So actually that sort of, management of your legs being more chill, smart.
Very much so, and you'd expect the European champion to work it smart. Have been working hard.
Work smarter, not harder. That's what we had.
Ronanen. Patrikus. Ronanen. Putting it in the hand reset. Getting every other, trying to put her in a good position, and that's very low and too low. And there is that opportunity to close out the game. Big bit into the end zone. Cut for the score.
And that is Cameron Agnew, one of the captaining outfit of old of Alba, who are also here. I know they're sad not to have Cameron with them. A lovely chap as well. But another absolute dime being thrown by Honest Beaching. She's got that throwing arm sleeve up, so maybe she's going for some funky uneven tanline business? I don't know. But either way, something seems to be working for the number 1 for Great Britain mixed. And that's going to do it 15-2, a commanding performance that's going to see them race up the standings here in the Swiss draw.
I think everyone for watching this first game, don't go anywhere. We have so much more coverage for you. We're back to open and women's games now, and then mixed after that again all day. Make sure to stay tuned and ring the bell if you want to get notifications on all our live streams.
Ring my bell, like and subscribe, best in the world, become a patron, do all the things.
And come back for women's and open matchups, Hardfish against Al.
Yeah. ULTI.TV.